Hi.
Anyone have a question for Celtics President of Basketball Operations, Brad Stevens? Bobby.
Welcome back, Brad. Obviously bringing in 21 players to camp. Lonnie Walker coming in on a training camp deal. What was the thinking behind adding him to the roster, and what's the plan for his camp and maybe into the season?
Well, I think anytime you bring in, people to camp, obviously all the deals are a little bit different, but evaluate it and see how everything plays itself out, how it fits together, and how it all goes. But he's a guy that, was very excited to be here. I think his relationship with Derrick, he's worked out with Jrue a lot in previous summers. And I think that there was an eagerness to be around those guys and to try a new situation. And so, obviously he's got a lot of talent. He's done a lot of good things in the NBA, and we'll see how it fits and plays itself out. And just like we will with all the other 21 players on the roster.
Brad in the middle. Last offseason, all the talk was getting that 18th banner and what this team can accomplish. We look back at last year, it was literally on right after you got Jrue in the building. Now all the talk's been defending that title and repeating, especially with you guys still having that core intact. Where do you get the confidence from Joe, from the Jays, from this group, that they can get back to being on the doorstep of repeating?
Well, it's all the talk outside of here, as it was last year. I think the talk inside of here is you mention it once and then you just focus on the day. Try to get better, try to improve, realize what's ahead. I think Joe has done a really good job along with our team of, they understand the target they have. They understand how human nature will play a role against you. They understand that it's going to be very difficult to win the first game, win the second game, and play 82 of them, and then see where you land after that. They've been through it. What we should have is the confidence to get through anything if we have the right mentality and mindset. But that's, you got to have it. Everybody's going to eagerly anticipate a new season right now today, the defending champs and everybody else. And then reality hits you, and, the third practice, you're a little bit more sore. And then you've got your first game, and you see how that goes. And, some guys play, don't play. Locker rooms start to, not be as jovial as they once were. And people start to separate themselves, and teams start to separate themselves. But you got to do it again. So this is the challenge. Focus on what we need to do today to start that journey and do it again.
Yeah. Go ahead, Val. Go ahead. Brad, with you guys have a ton of continuity here with the roster coming back, but there is a level of change that's upcoming with the ownership, change potentially coming as soon as during the season. How are you and your staff just managing that, handling that situation, the uncertainty that comes with that, knowing obviously you're focused on the present, but what does change could impact the franchise from years to come?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that we are doing. Obviously, it's out of our hands. As I've said before, I'm super thankful to Wick and Irv and their family for everything they've done for us throughout this entire tenure, and our great investor group that we have. We've had really good leadership around here, and they've basically said, hey, obviously, we've put a team together. This has been a long-term plan to be where we are right now. Plans don't always go the way you want them to. This one so far has been pretty smooth, but there will always be challenges that come along with that. But I think it's the way that they've phrased it to me from the standpoint of since the sale was announced was we just need to keep doing what we're doing, and business as usual, and do what you can to build the best team that we can, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Thanks. Hey, Brad, how is the health of your roster? Thinking obviously about Kristaps, but any other players who may have had things in the offseason, starting and then beyond?
I'm really encouraged by the health of our team. I mean, we had Kristaps obviously had the surgery that was well documented after the year, and seems to be recovering well. He's very optimistic. I think I don't know that we're interested in putting a timeline on him because the injury is unique. But as far as how he feels and the progress that he's made, I'd say we're very, very pleased with where he is, and maybe a little surprised. And then I'd say Xavier had a knee scope in the end of July and is doing great and will be full go for practice tomorrow, and has been playing the last last week or so. And then Luke, as many of you know, had the wrist operated on right after the season. Same thing, cleared to play. And so those timelines matched up well with the start of the season, obviously with some big depth issues potentially. So we're fortunate, and our training staff and those guys, with the effort they put in to get back, have both done a really good job of building it up so that they're ready to go when we need them to be ready to go tomorrow.
Hey, Brad, you mentioned a few minutes ago, you used the term human nature. Training camp starts, muscles start to hurt and so forth. Can you expand on human nature? Is that external forces? Is that players in the locker room competing? Is that players seeing stuff in the papers and online and social media and so forth? What is human nature?
I think in our situation, when you win it, and I've only lived it once where you were treated like you won it, which was when we got beat by Duke in the championship game when I was at Butler. You get pat on the back all summer, and you get told how great you are. And I think that one of the things that you just have to recognize is, like, all the things that you embraced the last season and all the things you say you're about will be tested at a greater level. And so, if you're really about that, then you elevate yourself even higher. And so with that comes, obviously you have 29 other teams in the NBA. They're watching the finals. They're going through the plays in the finals. They're going through the actions. They're going through what teams look like, what they like to do, and preparing to try to be one of those teams and try to beat you when they get their opportunity to do so. And so that should heighten your focus. But at the same time, it brings it's a little bit of a, it's a little bit ironic when considered that everywhere else you go, you're being told how great you are. And I think you just have to balance it with what's real. And what's real is the margin for error of winning small, and you have to give everything you have every day to be the best you can every time you take that court. We won't always be perfect. I'm sure we'll get drilled in a game early this season, and I'm sure we'll have our moments where we play really well. But the question is how can we stay consistent, and are we about the things that we embraced last year to get there? Do we sacrifice for one another? Are we willing to take everybody's best shot? Do we look at it as a fun challenge? Like, for me, this is as good of a challenge as you get if you're a competitor. So we should be excited about it.
Brad, you've seen the way the collective bargaining agreement has kind of pulled some good teams apart over the last year or so. Is there any more sense of urgency for you to try to get this team to win now before the realities of the finances kick in?
Yeah, I think you always feel a great sense of urgency to win and to put yourself in the mix, and we've been lucky to be sustainably in the mix. And so, I will say with the new CBA and the basketball penalties that are associated with it, and certainly the upper tax brackets that can be associated with it, especially when you get into the repeater tax, I think that those are all things that we have to obviously be super aware of to continue to try to put the best product we can on the floor. And yes, there are some real challenges that will come with that. Obviously, we're in an age and stage and a group that we think has a chance to be in the mix, and so we'd like to take advantage of that while we can.
Hi, Brett. I was just curious, as a coach who, you had an 8-year run here, Danny threw his support behind you, Doc had 9, Danny threw his support behind Doc, Joe's going into year 3, you threw your support in his first year behind him. How important has continuity been at the top? And then also, especially in a league where a lot of coaches don't get a year 3, how big is it for him to have that kind of time to just kind of develop with a group?
That's a good question. I mean, when I got offered the job with the Celtics to be the coach in 2013, it took me 9 days to decide to do it. it seems like a no-brainer to people, when you talk about the Celtics, right? How much of an honor and how flattering it is to get called by a team with this tradition and in this city where it matters this much. But, the most important question that I wanted to know was like, who am I working with, and how committed are they to the process that it takes to be good, and how patient are we with going through the ups and downs of that process. And there's some painful times, and the pain only increases when you're really good, right? It's not that bad when you're just kind of trying to figure out if you're any good, right? And I would give, Wick and Pags and Danny and everybody in here an unbelievable, they've just been exactly what I thought when I came. And so the answer is, I do think that it's important not to ride the roller coaster. It's important to evaluate things evenly. It's important to see it, listen to every perspective, but also do it without emotion. And we've got a lot of good leaders in this organization, and it goes well beyond just the people that I mentioned. Obviously, Zaren's been here 20 some odd years. Jeff, how many years have you been here now? 44th year. Like, we have unbelievable continuity at every part of the organization, and I do think it builds a pride, a responsibility, and you feel indebted to make it work for the person next to you, and that's a good thing. If you've got the right people in the room, obviously there's times where you don't, but we're lucky that we do.
That kind of goes along with my question. You bring back this roster almost in its entirety, and you speak about continuity. And from your experience as a coach to now the man making the decisions, why was that such an important thing, a priority for you?
Well, I generally would say I wouldn't mind a tweak or two, just because I think that those things can galvanize you, can give you a jolt, can give you the juice that you need. I think that these guys are galvanized by each other. And I think that this group, and it's not completely the same. I mean, we've got a couple guys that aren't here that were awesome for us. But obviously with the draft and things like that, we have to look at ways where we can both balance being really good at the top of our roster, but building in with some young players that we hopefully can grow and develop and can be good fits with our roster as we move forward. But I do think that these guys, they have a unique chemistry that I truly believe matters. And, they deserve the opportunity to attack this challenge together.
Final question, Brad, we saw you after Game 5 celebrate a little bit. You let loose a little bit. And
shocker.
Yeah, it is shocking. But did you enjoy? How long did it take you to kind of look in the mirror and go, I put together a championship team? And then how long was it straight back to business? Because you're about the business. And how long did you, and what's the process like of keeping a championship team different from building a championship team?
Well, those might all be different questions. I think I would say the first part is I know I sound like a broken record, maybe on purpose, is we want to be in the mix. We want to have a chance. Doesn't mean you're going to win, but we want to be one of those teams that you can truly point at that says they have a chance, right? So I think that whether you're building that, whether you're trying to sustain that, that's about the people in the room, the adaptability of your coaches, and the ability of the team to stay together and become the best version of itself. And I feel good about all of those things, and that's why I think we're in the mix. As far as me goes, I was always curious probably how that would feel. Obviously the moment, the elation of winning in that given night, the parade and how truly incredible that was, and seeing the happiness and the people in Boston that all flooded the streets. That was special. I would say that after that, it's been business as usual, which I'm kind of thankful for, because you go through all these seasons and you're like, it's a season shouldn't be defined as good or bad, whether you're the last one standing or not. Sometimes you maximize yourself and you're not. So I think that there was also a level of satisfaction of, this doesn't feel much different. Right, we're just trying to put our best foot forward. We're going to try to do it again. for the last team standing, great. And there are a lot of cool things that come with that. But like I didn't get to take the trophy all summer. No one offered it to me. So maybe I'll get it eventually sometime down the road. But or maybe that's the next target, right? You got to get another one in a year or two to get a chance to take it for a day. But I do think that these are things that you try your best to just stay in the moment, do your job as well as you can. And if the results end up being what they are, that's pretty sweet. But if they're not, you stay even and you try to make it the best you can the next time.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks.
Joe, welcome back.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
What's going to be the plan early in the season for sustaining with Kristaps out, some of the other guys in the mix there, opportunities they'll have, and Lonnie Walker coming in? What kind of impressions have you gotten of him so far and what he could potentially add to this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think the plan is to continue to create an environment understanding guys work to be healthy, rely on just our training staff and the work they put into that. And then when you think about Celtic basketball, we shouldn't miss a beat. So I think that's a strength of this team ever since I've been here, is regardless of who's in, who's out, we feel like we have an opportunity to win. And it's just we all should be getting better. And we should have an understanding that whoever's in, we're competing to win. And we have a chance to win. And that's kind of the mindset.
Some of these guys work toward winning a championship for years. It might be a different challenge to do it again. How do you want to approach trying to repeat as champions? How do you want to just approach that?
I think you got to be honest, right? Like, at the end of the day, whether we won or lost, if we're standing up here at this point, the goal's to win. So, I mean, if we would have lost last year, our goal would be to win a championship this year. So I think just clearly stating we want to win a championship every single year. That's the goal, that's the standard, that's the expectation. So what happened in the past really doesn't change when we step foot in the building on this day. It's to win a championship. So that's always going to be the goal. And we just have to work towards that and have an understanding that there's a lot of things that go into it, and there's a lot of things that we can't control about it. But there's never going to be a media day, September 25th, October 1st, where it's not like, hey, we're trying to win a championship. And that's the environment that we create, and that's the plan. That's the goal.
What do you see as some challenges that you could face trying to kind of recapture what you had last year and everything that goes into that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest challenge is, again, I know I've talked about this, is like expectations, having an expectation that it's going to go a certain way. Also thinking because we've done it one way, we just have to do it that way again, right? And I think that's a challenge heading into any season. There's obviously principles, non-negotiables, things that we have to recreate, that we have to do every single year, and then there's things that we got to adjust and find ways to be better. So I think the challenge comes into just coming into this season with a closed mindset. We have to have an open mind. We got to have an understanding of our environment's changed, and we have to change. And just because something worked before doesn't mean it's going to work again. And where do we have to be the same? And then where do we got to grow? Where do we got to change? And so I think that's the challenge.
Good morning, Joe. You went without to the Dominican Republic. Just curious as to how that trip went for you, and did you learn anything?
Yeah, it was great. I think, Jay asked the question about working for something towards your whole life. I think that's kind of what Al's approach is just his goal in life is to just sustain success on and off the court, and to be able for him to invite me back to his hometown and watch the impact that he has on the environment, but also the impact that people have on him. And it was just great to see that relationship, and it was great to share in that with his family and really the environment. So I was grateful that I got to go.
Joe, right over here. As the other teams try to tweak their rosters and their coaching staff to try to beat the Celtics, how are you looking at tweaking your own staff, your own roster, to try to make sure that you defend that title?
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that's putting words in people's mouth. I would argue that they're not waking up saying, like, I have to hire this guy so that we could beat this particular team. I'm not quite sure that goes to that level. I think at the end of the day, on this day or whenever people start the season, they're like, we got to maximize. We have to be our best. We're going after what greatness is, right? So I think having an understanding that environment's constantly changing, that we have to be a part of that change. There's certain things that we have to maintain, and there's certain things that we got to change. And that's kind of what we have to go into, is just not having a fixed mindset towards it, having an open mind. Just because something worked before doesn't mean it's going to work again. Where do we have to maintain our standard? Where do we have to grow? And I think just keeping that will allow us to continue to develop in this ever-changing environment, right? I think it's such a competitive environment that it's always changing. Even during the season, there's always times you go into a season thinking you're going to have this type of identity, and maybe your team shows you something different during it, and you kind of go to that, right? So it's just kind of having an understanding and being ready to adjust on the fly.
I do. It's just Julian. This team historically has had a lot of continuity at the head coaching spot, whether it's Brad or Doc, now you going into your third year. When you look at that, just kind of like having an opportunity to get 3 of these, is there a sense of gratitude, one, that like, hey, like not many coaches get this opportunity, and 2, what do you want to do with that journey as you look at each individual year? You know
I mean, I would say there's 100 greatness. Like, you don't know how long you're going to have this position. and there's only 30 of them. And the one that it's in my hometown and my home area, and for a team with this type of responsibility and tradition is the ultimate gift. And I'd say the biggest gift of this organization has been its alignment and its consistency. There's ultimate alignment from top to bottom. There's high-level communication from top to bottom, and there's a mental understanding of going after greatness. You know, even on the years that I've been here where we haven't won, our values, our demeanor, our decision-making, nothing's changed. And so we come into every season with the ultimate alignment, and I think that allows people to just do their jobs at a high level, and I think that's kind of what, you know, we're fighting to maintain.
Along those lines, kind of, I guess, 2 summers ago, you went to Costa Rica and really kind of found a new inspiration for the season going forward. What experiences did you have this summer to kind of reinvigorate and find some new inspiration leading into this new challenge?
Yeah, I think just kind of studying what goes into winning and what goes into losing. So many times people are focused on trying to win. I think it's just as important as keeping yourself from losing. And as hard as it is to win, it's very easy to lose. And just maintaining that balance. It's not always about winning. It's about making sure you have an understanding what losing looks like and how easy it is to fall into particular habits that can lead to losing at some point. And so it's having a balanced approach towards success and failure, and having an understanding of kind of, you got to be able to do, you know, you have to understand both sides of that. Winning is just as dangerous as losing, and vice versa.
Joe, you guys are in a very unique position where a lot of championship teams lose a piece in the rotation, whether it's free agency or a trade or something. You guys were fortunate enough to bring everybody back. Last year, obviously, you achieved the ultimate goal, but at the beginning of the year, there were a lot of new pieces. This year, going into it, you're going to be almost identical. What advantages do you think that's going to give you heading into this second season with the same group?
I mean, I think they're both advantages and disadvantages. It could be an advantage to having a new team. It could be an advantage to having the same team. It's more about just leveraging those opportunities that you have. And I think throughout the season, the environment will tell us what we need to adjust to and where we need to maintain the same. But I think, you know, there's pros and cons to both. If I had to choose one, I'd choose the one that we have, where we have consistency, where we have the character and the talent that we have. And at the end of the day, who you are as a team and the way you play is a reflection of the kind of the character and the talent of the guys. And that's kind of what we're doubling down on because of who they are and how much they compete and how good they are. So, but there will be times for us to adjust on the fly, and we just got to be ready. And there's always internal driving forces that lead to change, and so we just got to be ready for what those are and accept those.
Joe, today's about moving forward and looking forward. If you can look back for a second, can you talk about how much you enjoyed this offseason, starting with the parade?
I mean, I wouldn't say I enjoyed the offseason. I enjoyed the parade. I thought the parade was a rather intense experience, which I loved, and it was a great opportunity to connect with the city. And our number one goal, one of my goals in being the head coach, is making sure we maintain the consistent mindset and the consistent connection to the city of Boston, the chip on their shoulder, the toughness, the expectation to winning. So I thought the parade was kind of the culmination of that connection and making sure that we work on that throughout. And that's it.
Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Not winning it over the years brought a new challenge, and you've overcome that challenge. How motivated or how much are you just pushed by doing it again? Because it's a new challenge. It's something you've never done before, and you're a guy who likes to do things you've never done before. Like, how much did that motivate you or get you going this summer that this is something new, like to try to repeat?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's just about perspective, right? Like, it's about, I think every year you head into this, you're always going to be like, all right, like, what can we go after, you know? But I think it tests you. I think being in a situation like this tests why do you do what you do, because you can't only do it for the good times. And, you know, since I've been in the league, we haven't done it. And I've found the same motivation the years that we didn't win as I did this past summer. And so I think when you go through an experience like last year, it really just tests your internal motivation. And if you're going to be extrinsically motivated, that's going to die out. And, you know, you'll kind of be exposed for your external motivation relatively quick, whether that's 1 year or 2 years. But I think going through successes and failures kind of test your internal intrinsic motivation as to, like, what you're really going after. You know, and so I think when you go through an experience like that, you have to test that. And so that's kind of the test, right, is how long does this last? 5 years, 6 years? You have no idea. But I think you start every season because it's a challenge of, like, okay, we got to do this again. And like I said to start the press conference, regardless of what happens in the past, every year I'm on here, the goal is going to be to win. That's just the goal. and we have to work on the process towards that each and every year, redeveloping new identities and keeping the things that work the same, you know?
Did I hear you right that you said you didn't enjoy the off season?
I mean, I enjoyed some parts of it. I think attachment was something that you have to be aware of, right? Like I think when you one of the challenges of this offseason was detaching from the past and having an understanding of if you're attached to a success or a failure for too long, that can be really dangerous. And the world tries to keep you attached to the past, and the world tries to keep you attached to your latest success or your latest failure, and that's where people get stuck, where they're in, is attachment. And so it was a balance of we can't be attached to this past success. It would be the same as being attached to a past failure. So how can we detach from that with the understanding of taking the things, the DNA of the things that we need to do to try to go after greatness again? And so it's just a battle of, you know, detachment versus attachment. And, you know, I think that's kind of what we're going to have to be working towards throughout the year.
And just in general, obviously you just talked about how you're trying to focus on what's ahead. Does it feel any different sitting here today than it did a year ago because of what you guys achieved last year and the fact you did
Quite honestly, zero. Feels zero difference. And I think if you're ever lucky to do again, when it does feel different, that's when I'd rather not do it anymore.
Hey, Joe. How has your relationship with Brad developed over these 2 years to where it is now? And then what impresses you most about what Brad has, quote unquote, built here before and now?
Yeah, I mean, I think to sum up our relationship, it's alignment. I think it's a unique one because very few coaches in the league step into the role that he's in now, and then very few people who have worked for that coach now work, you know, for him in that role. And so it's a much unique role because we've had 2 years to learn each other. We've had 2 years of working together and have an understanding of how each person communicates, how each person thinks. I think we're very, we have a shared mental approach towards what success looks like, and we just have different communication styles in it. But there's ultimate alignment as far as what Celtic basketball looks like and what building a culture and an organization look like. And so when you have that alignment, it makes things, it makes, you know, the daily approach good, and it makes decision making, you know, relatively simple.
Stepping back and looking at what impresses you most about what he's done here?
I mean, I would say just his consistency. I think, you know, if you look at him, the same things that made him a great coach make him a great GM. His ability to eliminate emotion, make great decisions based on logic, build relationships with people, and communicate to have alignment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through this or something like this after winning the championship in Milwaukee, coming back the next year and trying to do it again? What stood out from that experience, and what are some of the challenges in trying to repeat as a champion?
I think what stood out was we lost to Boston. That was the team that stopped us, and now I won with them. So maybe it's just all full circle, you know. Maybe this time it's going to be a little different. But the challenges, I think the challenges are, you know, people see us at the top of the mountain now, which I think last year they kind of saw that too. We've heard good and bad, but honestly, I think it's going to be the same thing. People are going to say that we suck, and then other people are going to be like, we're really good. And then at the end of the day, I think we have to keep our circle tight and fight together and try to get to the to win our last game like we did this last season.
Jrue, last year coming in, you were sort of the new face, and you came in right as training camp started. Now, fast forward a year, you guys obviously accomplished the goal you wanted to accomplish, and you brought back nearly an identical team. What are the differences you notice from internally the team going into last year's training camp versus this year's?
I mean, I think I showed up at training camp, so I guess I can't really put together what happened, like going into training camp. But this year, I know for me personally, it's just chemistry. I am here, and I know what my role is and what I'm going to do, and I feel like we have a lot of the same team. So we know that we're going to build chemistry. We're going to do it through training camp and through most of the season. And Joe will probably have to do some new crazy drills or whatever. So super excited for that.
Jrue, I'm just curious your reaction to Wick selling the team. And you guys do have this group back, and it would seem like you're at the beginning of a long run, but a new owner could come in here and change that. So is there any additional urgency this year, knowing that maybe the runway to pursue another championship is not quite as long as maybe you thought?
Never thought that. I guess the money side and him selling, that's kind of him. That's his situation. I think for me, I try to control what I can control, and that's coming in here every day, trying to reach that ultimate goal, which is winning another championship. So, I guess best of luck to Wick. I don't really know what to tell him, but I think for the most part, we try to come in here every day and take care of business, and we'll try to continue to do that.
Jrue, just fresh off a championship, you go win gold. Did you get a chance to take a step back and just appreciate what you did over the last couple months?
You know, try to the best I can. Try to get away and hang out. You know, just me and my wife or me and my kids. Just with my family, but still really excited for the season. So knowing that it was coming in such a short amount of time, really just trying to prepare mentally and physically. But I think I got a bit of a break, enough of a break, and excited to be back here doing what I love to do.
Jrue, back to your title with Milwaukee. Did you feel like the next year every team kept coming after you guys, knowing that you were the champs? And also just how were you received on the road by other fans, knowing that you were the defending champs? Is that something that you can relate to, that experience coming in here now?
I think it's funny because the year that we won with Milwaukee, we were the 3 seed, and then the next year we were the 1 seed. So I think we kind of, I don't know. I think we kind of just played our game, and I feel like that's what we're going to do this year. Sometimes it's easy to kind of focus on what other people want or what they think and all that, but I think for the most part, we're going to focus on the ideas and the goals that we have. It is kind of easy to hear the noise from the outside, but like I said, I think we've kind of proven ourselves as a group that we keep everything pretty internal, and if we need anything, we take care of it in that way. But I don't know. I feel like we're all pretty good at what we do, and really, really excited to get the season started.
Hi, Jrue.
What's up?
Was this morning the first time you guys were all together? And then just to be back in the gym with that group, what was Joe's message to you?
It was the first time we were together in like something like this, like in one room, or like in a theater room or whatever. But I've seen everybody. I've seen literally everybody before today. And I think that just kind of goes to show, like, I mean, we love this game, and we know what's to come, and we're excited about what's to come. So, no, this isn't just like the first time I've seen a few teammates and done all that. But, again, I think the hunger that we have and how we play, it's like how it was last year, and we'll continue to try to push to be better every single day. Joe's message? Joe being Joe. I think he just pointed out that people are going to say that we're really good, and then at times people are going to say that we suck. And no, literally, I think that was word for word. But people think we're going to be really good. People think that we're going to suck, but none of that matters. All that matters is that we take care of each other and we go out there every day and do what we can for the person next to us.
Jrue, obviously this is the situation you want, playing through mid-June, winning gold, but you're also playing later into the season, playing competitive. You got to keep your body ready for an Olympics run. How does that affect your preparation for a season, your downtime, your recovery time, and how are you feeling right now as compared to like a normal regular season?
I mean, a normal regular season sometimes can be, seems like you have 5 months off because sometimes you don't even make the playoffs. I'd much rather have this. I'd much rather play long into June, win the championship, go and play the Olympics, win a gold medal, and then not have a lot of time for a break and then go right back into basketball. I feel like I love this game, so basketball isn't like a hassle to me or anything. So I guess I love the job that I have. Having a break, I had a break, and it was nice. I had some great experiences, though, this summer, so I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Thank you, Jrue.
Come on, Derrick White. They ready for you, my boy.
Jayson, welcome back. I wanted to hear, some of the things you worked on over the offseason in terms of your game, and you probably didn't want to didn't shoot the way you wanted to in the playoffs. Is there anything you looked at mechanically there? Anything you tried to adjust in terms of the three-point shot to build it back up going into this year?
Yeah, watched a lot of film. Been working with my trainer Jrue a lot recently in the last few weeks. Few mechanical things, pick up points, hand placement, getting lower, keeping my shoulders forward and things like that.
Did you feel anything kind of go wrong in the playoffs in terms of those mechanics, or did you kind of just go back and look at it over the summer and see them?
Yeah, I mean, there's some things I could have fixed, but just in the midst of the playoffs and trying to manage, your rest and things like that. It's a little tougher, and you don't, I was still playing well, just wasn't shooting the ball as well as I would have liked, and obviously we were winning, so, it wasn't the time or the place to, try to fix things in that moment.
Jayson, Brad was just saying how, this coming season could be even a bigger challenge than last season. Just how do you approach the process of maintaining what you did last year?
I think the important thing is, being proud of what we did last season, and last year was amazing. We were an incredible team, and, we made history. And, this year, not necessarily feeling like we have to defend the title, but we're trying to go win it. We had a target on our back the last couple of years. Nothing has changed in that aspect. If anything, we know how great it felt to win and what it took, and we're trying to go win again. Not necessarily defend it, but, just like anybody else, we want to go win a championship.
Jayson, I'm curious what you learned from your experience at the Olympics this summer.
That's a broad question. You want to be more specific?
Is it something you're going to draw motivation from, I guess?
Want to address the, I didn't play in 2 of those games? That's what you mean?
That's part of it, yeah.
Motivation. I guess you could say that, and if you want to simplify it, in real time it was tough, but it's and Joe, I talk to Joe a lot. Joe was probably the happiest person in the world that I didn't win Finals MVP and that I didn't play in 2 of the games in the Olympics. So that was odd, but if you know Joe, it makes sense. Did I need any extra motivation coming into the season? No, I don't. I wouldn't. I'm not going to give anybody in particular credit that they're motivating me to come into the season. It was a unique circumstance, something I wasn't having experienced before in my playing career. But I'm a believer that everything happens for a reason. I was coming off a championship, the highest of the highs, and cover a 2K, a new contract, and then that happened. And whatever the reason is, I haven't figured out yet, but I am a believer that everything does happen for a reason. But it was a good experience. We won the gold medal. I won my second one. I was around some of the best players that ever played a game on a daily basis and built some friendships and, was able to bring my family out there and enjoy the Olympics as a whole. So that was a plus from it for sure.
You sat up here the last several years after getting really close to winning a title and talked about, what it was going to take to get over the top and win one. I'm just curious, after accomplishing that this summer and having, coming back and trying to do it again, does it feel different sitting here now? And if so, what feels different now that you finally did get over that hurdle and, finally get that first title?
Yeah. It does feel different, not from a place of being complacent, right? Not that I'm relaxed or comfortable. It's all about what you're trying to achieve and trying to achieve greatness. I believed that we were going to win at some point. We had a sustained level of greatness for 6 years, or even before that. We were so close. We were taking the proper steps, and we finally knocked down the door. And it was never just about just trying to win one, right? Now you get to be mentioned with at least be in the same room with the other Celtics, great teams, the other great players, all the guys that I looked up to growing up, at least won one championship. So now it's just a conversation of how great are you trying to be, right? What room or what tier are you trying to be mentioned in when it's all said and done? And understanding the window that you have to maximize that time. And so, yeah, it does feel different, being up here as a champion and knowing what it takes, and wanting to be on the top of the mountain as many times as you can.
Jayson, just when did you get back in the building there, and what was the motivation in coming back early?
Coming back to facility? When I got back from being over in China, I started back working out. It's a quick turnaround, right? Played till June, went to the Olympics, had some off-the-court deals like, with my partners and with my foundation and things I had to do. So it has been a short summer, and we start practice tomorrow, so I had to get back ready to ramp it back up.
Thank you, Jayson. Derrick White is up next.
Hey, Derrick, welcome back. First, the blow to your tooth, and then that blow to your head over in Colorado. Can you tell me how you're trying to keep your physical health intact and ready for this season? And can you tell us a little bit about those incidents, especially the Colorado one?
Well, my teeth are getting better. I had to go to the dentist on Friday and got 3 root canals, so that was fun. But yeah, I think I gotta go like one more time to the dentist, and then I should be done for good. But teeth are good. Honestly, the Colorado situation is unfortunate. Never thought I'd be in that situation, honestly. I didn't actually get hit. He just hit my hat off. But yeah, shouldn't have been there. It's unfortunate, and just moving on.
Derrick, you were named to the Olympic team this summer. Obviously, you didn't know that that was necessarily coming for sure. What was that experience like, and where does it rank among like the many amazing things you've accomplished in the last year?
Yeah, it was amazing. Just getting that phone call. I was just kind of at home chilling, relaxing, and just getting that call and just being part of that team with legends of the game, people that are the best in this game that the game has right now. And so I was just thankful just to be a part of that team and just go out there and just learn as much and just try to help us win the gold, which was obviously a special moment. So it was a good summer, and I enjoyed it.
Hey, Derrick, welcome back. You got to play with Lonnie Walker in San Antonio early in his career. What have been your impressions of him here at the facility so far, and just where he's at now compared to early in his career?
Yeah, it was good seeing Lonnie again. That was my guy. He got drafted the year after me. So I'm kind of just a couple of young guys trying to figure it out, learning under Pop, and kind of had, like, he started in Austin his rookie year like I did, so we kind of had similar things. And so it's always good to see him. Good guy, good energy around the gym. Also can do a lot of special things on the court. So it's good to see him and just get back to it.
Derrick, obviously, every offseason you've been in Boston, it's been a different feeling, sort of. Obviously, the Warriors losing to them in the finals and the Heat loss, and now you're an NBA champion. Combine that with the fact that you guys brought back nearly an identical roster heading into next season. How much different are the vibes heading into this training camp versus the other years you've been here?
I think it's probably about the same. Everybody's excited, especially, like, I mean, we got the same team back, and guys that we've won a lot of games together. We've played pretty much, we've experienced obviously the highest of joy, but we've also experienced those defeats that kind of made us the team and the players that we are today. So when you go through things like that together, and then, like, obviously we just got great people that you want to play for, and you want to play as teammates. And so I think it's just a lot of excitement just to get back to it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Derrick, welcome back. Just having everybody back in the building now together once again, were there any elephants in the room that you guys kind of just had to work through in terms of Jaylen not making Team USA, or just anything that's unfolded over the offseason?
No, there was no elephants in there. That was never an issue. That was never really needed to be talked about, and everybody's excited. Everybody had a good summer, and we're looking forward to this season.
Derrick, first time we've spoken with you since the contract. Just what was your reaction to getting that done and getting some kind of long-term stability here?
It was amazing. I mean, I've been saying that since I've been here, that I didn't want to go nowhere else, and I just love playing for this organization, with this team, this coaching staff, and like for these fans. And so I was super excited for it to get done, especially early in the summer, so I didn't have to answer all the questions about it. But yeah, I love being here, and me and my family are super excited to be here for a while.
Hi, Derrick. Oh, sorry. Is there another one? You mentioned the Olympics and just kind of trying to soak in that experience. What are some of the things that you took away from that, some things that you learned?
I just think, like, when you're around great players, every day for about a month and a half. You got no choice but to pick up like what makes them great, what makes them special, from what they eat, from like their preparation, how they take care of their bodies, what they're doing in the weight room. So just all those little things off the court, which you don't really get to see unless you're on their team. So I think that was probably the coolest part for me. And then just like on the court, just seeing how they compete, just how they're focused on all the little things. And it was just really cool to see the day in and day out process of legends of this game.
Hello, guys.
Questions for KP, starting over here with Bobby.
Hey, Kristaps, welcome back. How are you feeling? What's the recovery process been like from this surgery, and when do you expect to be back?
Thank you. Good to be back. Yeah, it was a rare injury. Got the surgery done right after the parade, and then it was 3-4 weeks or so, kind of at home, hanging out, and then was able to start doing more in August, and now it's end of September already. Been doing a good amount of stuff, feeling pretty good, and looking forward to keep making the progress at this rate, and hopefully be back out there with the guys as soon as possible.
Kristaps, last year you sat down here for Media Day with a huge smile on your face, excited to be a Celtic. A year later, you sit down here as a champion. What's the difference in excitement from last year, getting ready to be a part of this organization, to now this year being a part of it again as a champion? And then also added in, like you just mentioned, the challenges in front of you with the injury. Like, sort of what's the difference in feelings from last year to this year?
I don't know what's the difference. I think I'm always excited. This is my 10th season. I'm always excited for the beginning of the season, the training camp. It's like first day of school. You start the training camp, and again, it's a war out there, and then boom, the regular season starts, and then you're back into that rhythm. But yeah, just feelings of gratitude. About the whole season of last year, so many ups and downs, and then getting hurt in the playoffs, and then ultimately winning the whole thing. It's just, an unbelievable year that came true. The vision that I had came true, and now sitting here, as you said, as a champion. Thank you for that. Yeah, sitting here as a champion, and looking forward to trying to complete that mission again.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo fue tu primera temporada baja como campeón y con qué mentalidad llegan sabiendo que van a tener un blanco en la espalda por ser campeón?
¿Cómo fue mi primera temporada, perdón?
Primera temporada baja, tu off-season.
Sí, gracias. Ha sido un buen verano. La verdad que he disfrutado como nunca. Y nada, ha sido un verano corto al final. Pero bueno, ya con ganas de seguir mi recuperación, intentar volver lo antes posible con el equipo y ya está. Y intentar repetir lo que hicimos la temporada pasada.
Obviously, you've had to deal with a kind of a fair share of injuries, and this one, I'm sure, was very frustrating. But as you have been recovering this offseason and heading to the next few weeks, how much does it help to know that you were able to still be a part of the finals run, that you had that first quarter that everybody's going to remember forever? Like, is that helping you mentally in the recovery, or do you feel like at this point it's kind of in the past and you're just focused on getting healthier?
I think, I've had so many, unfortunate situations, and then having to come back. It kind of prepared me for that moment last season, to not be able to play for such a long time and then having to jump back in into the highest level game, you know, on the biggest stage. I don't know. It's just, I think all of that, what I've been through in my career, prepared me for that moment. And yeah, and I proved once again to myself and to everybody else that I'm capable of doing that. And this season will be no different. You know, I'm going to have some time to get in rhythm, obviously. So there's no like that pressure that I felt maybe in the finals. But still, I expect myself to jump right back in and help the team right away without having too much, you know, rust and all this. So yeah, already, you know, the things that I'm doing, I'm feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident, and looking forward to ramping up even more.
Kristaps, just wanted to follow up a little bit on the injury. You called it a rare injury. It's your understanding, though, that you will make a full recovery, the surgery, you're back on the court and everything. Have they said to you coming back early is at risk at all? Have they said to you basically wait as long as you possibly can to get on the court? Obviously, everybody's wondering when you might be coming back.
Yeah, obviously the you know, the energy I'm feeling from, you know, the doctor, the surgeon, the medical staff is, you know, to not rush anything. But for myself, obviously, if you ask me and I had to do my own protocol, I would probably go quicker. But that's a good sign. I'm feeling really good. My ankle's feeling really, really good. And yeah, and you know, the quicker or the sooner I can get the green light to do more and more stuff, I'll be happy, and I'm sure I'm going to be more than 100% ready for each stage that's coming up now, you know.
Saw you walk in, don't have any, no, doesn't look like you have anything on the ankle or anything. What exactly are you able to do right now, and sort of what's the next couple steps in terms of, like you said, the progress of getting back on the court?
Yeah, no, I'm, you know, walking obviously with nothing. I'm running. I'm on the court, shooting, normal. I'm doing a lot of stuff, honestly. I was already kind of with some light contact doing some stuff also. And yeah, felt really good afterwards. So yeah, I think it's a really good sign that we have from the other day. And again, I'm optimistic as always.
Did you say you are running?
Yeah.
And was the light contact like recently, like last week or soon?
Yeah, it was, what was it? During the weekend, I think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Final two questions. Butch and then Gary.
Last year, Kristaps, you made very quickly a connection with Celtics fans and the city. So in that regard, how much did you enjoy this offseason and starting with the parade?
Yeah. No, it's, I don't know. It was just natural. I love playing here. Even before I came, I loved playing here on the road. And then when I came here, I got so much support from the fans, and I was able to connect with the fans really well. And as I said, yeah, my favorite part was the parade. You know, after winning it all, and it's nothing but like gratitude for the amount of support we have received as a team. And myself individually, so it's like no place else for me.
Kristaps, you've been through a lot in your career. Did the championship kind of verify you as a player, all the hard work you put in, all the what you endured? Did you kind of reflect on that and say you're a champion, and that people kind of doubting you throughout your ability to play on a winning team? Did that impact you, and what was it like going back to Latvia as a champion?
Yeah, good question. I don't think so. I don't think it changed too much for myself. But what was the question?
Verify you after all you've been
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
that you can be a winner.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I had a lot of ups and downs in my career, right? Did it like verify for myself? I don't think so. I'm still, you know, extremely hungry. I still feel like I have a chip on my shoulder. I want to stay healthy throughout, you know, this next playoff run we're gonna have. So I still have many things to prove in my own eyes, and I can find always angles or things that, you know, how I can motivate myself if I need to. So that's gonna be there, and I think that's just healthy. But it's definitely a nice proof to myself and and us as a team, to everybody, that we're capable of doing it, and now we have the next mission ahead of us. Yep. Thanks, guys.
It's 30. It's 30. 30. 44. Oh, way up. I know that. I'm trying to keep you straight. Welcome back. Yes, sir. Afternoon, guys.
Questions for Jaylen?
Hey, Jaylen, right over here. Welcome back. Not getting called on for the Olympic roster there. How did that make you feel? And are you carrying any of those?
Question number one.
Sorry. Right off the bat. Not a lot of chances here.
Get to warm up a little. Shit.
That's how the season's gonna go, man. So just your emotions overall, your feelings. Are you carrying any of those feelings over into the new season in terms of what is motivating you to win again?
I'm ready to go. I'm excited about being back. You know, the past is the past, but I'm ready to get after it. You know, lead our guys, get the guys, build some team chemistry, not skip any steps, and just set the tone for another year again. I'm extremely motivated for obvious reasons, and I'm ready to get after it.
Jaylen, you've had a lot of off-court ventures this summer as well, between the new foundation and potentially the shoe, the song. Is there a particular thing off the court that you're particularly proud of that you accomplished this summer that maybe stands out in a long list of things?
Yeah, all of it. I think, like being able to extend out, you know, my foundation from Boston Exchange to being able to launch it with Jason Kidd in Oakland, which was extremely cool because Oakland is like, you know, a second home or third home, just being my proximity in Berkeley. But even being able to do something with J Kidd, even though we just competed in the NBA Finals, for him to, you know, put that to the side and be able to still, you know, put community first, I think that was pretty awesome. Being able to like explore the shoe market, what it takes to that goes into a company and a business, and I'm looking forward to be able to make some announcements a little bit later today. But you know, nothing beats being able to give back to your community. So being able to do some stuff like that with Jason Kidd in Oakland and here, looking forward to doing some stuff in Boston with Jrue, my teammate. Nothing beats that.
Jaylen, you've been able to improve pretty much every year of your career. What did you focus on in terms of your game this summer that you want to improve on going into this year? What's going to be the key for the team sustaining without Kristaps early on?
Definitely be a little bit more of a load for guys to carry. We got to have guys step up. I'm looking for guys to take steps forward. You know, guys that have been here, been a part of the system. You know, they're gonna, you know, try to push them to be, you know, better versions of themselves. That's exciting. And as a leader, trying to bring that out of everybody and just make sure all the pieces of the ship are just moving smoothly. For me personally, I worked on everything. You know, I know I say this every year, but, you know, this is the best that I've ever felt and the hardest that I've ever worked. In the midst of traveling, I've been able to, you know, balance that with really getting after it. So I'm excited.
Hey, Jaylen, it feels like every year since you've been in the league, there's been some sort of change, whether it's a head coaching change or, you know, a starter getting traded or just major moves within the organization. Going into this year, it feels like the first time in a really unique scenario where the team who just won a title is almost exactly the same. Joe's back for another year. How grateful are you to have that, you know, continuation year over year, and how different is the feeling going into this year?
It's kind of weird, actually, having some stability because over the last courses of years, we have had coaches change. Coaches leave during the middle of the season, trades, players in and out. You know, but nobody mentions that when you lose. So it's good to hear it as an excuse now when you win, that we have some stability. But it definitely feels a little bit different. But I think it'll be good for us. You know, continue to build off the chemistry that we already have, and just trying to take some leaps forward. Obviously, KP is big for us, so we're gonna have to carry the load a little bit more, but we'll figure it out.
Jaylen, when you look at, to your right, when you look at some of the off-season maneuvering other teams have done with Philadelphia adding a great wing defender, the Knicks adding a great wing defender, even Oklahoma City adding another wing defender. Has it felt to you like teams are building out their rosters with beating you guys in mind?
Has it felt like that? You know, I'm only focused on what our organization is doing. You know, I could care less what's going on around the league. They're doing what they feel is best. So I don't have really any feelings towards it, but yeah, it kind of seems like that, you know, from the outside looking in, but, you know, no thoughts really.
Jaylen in the middle. We know today is probably the first time all you guys are in the same room together after all offseason. We heard from Joe, hoping the target's between the eyes, detachment versus attachment, but where does the confidence come from you that this team, after knowing what it takes to win the whole thing, is bringing that same approach this offseason and maybe even more to go and win another title?
What's the question?
Just where does the confidence come from that this team, after winning it all, is still just as motivated, maybe even more because everyone's gunning to take you guys down and get it?
I mean, I think it comes through work, the confidence for sure. But, you know, I think that we just got a stellar group of guys. We got a guys that just have great mentalities. So I don't think it'd be as hard to maintain that consistency. We just got to make sure that we continue to emphasize and hold each other accountable. You know, hopefully, you know, we stay healthy for the large part of the year, but I'm excited. We got a great group of guys, a great team chemistry, a great locker room. So we just got to take it one day at a time and see where we go from there. But it's been an honor being around some of these guys for X amount of years. So I'm looking forward to this journey because of the guys I get to share the locker room with.
I noticed the shoes you're wearing. You're going to wear those all off season. It looks like new shoes. We saw you debut.
Yes, sir. We'll be wearing, you know, different variations, but these shoes all season. I'm looking forward to making some announcements later today. But I'm excited about it and excited to explain to you guys the journey and the process that I've been on, all the ups and downs, everything that's happened behind closed doors. I'm sharing the whole experience that kind of goes on in the sneaker market and sneaker companies from grassroots up. You know, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with it, but I'll be able to articulate it a lot clearer than most. So I'm looking forward to doing that when the time presents itself.
Thanks.
Jaylen, you know, as the longest tenured Celtic here, I wanted to get your reaction to Wick selling the team. And
that's just like a way of calling somebody old. Like
you're too young to be old. You're too young to be old. NBA moves fast, but you are the longest tenured guy. So I want to get your reaction to Wick selling the team, and also, do you have any concerns about that affecting the great organizational alignment you guys have, and ultimately this championship window you have?
I think, you know, I've had the honor to build relationships with the ownership group that we've had, and it's been a partnership that we've worked on continuously on and off the floor to be able to lead to the championship that we just achieved. You know, obviously with that ownership group switching, that it would be some learning and growing that would be need to met in order to get accustomed. But hopefully it's a smooth transition. That's what we all hope for, but we're going to have to just wait and see.
You've talked about last year kind of how you were driven by the times you guys fell short. This year, after succeeding, winning a championship, how do you kind of tap back into that? How do you plan to approach trying to repeat?
I don't know. It kind of just, it feels the same. Honestly, I feel the same than I did. And the year before when we lost, it was kind of like the lowest of low for me. You know, I feel like it was my responsibility. You know, when we lost in Game 7, kind of fell short. And then now it feels like, you know, we won, and it was like the same kind of deal, but just opposite end of the spectrum, right? But they kind of feel the same when you kind of like look at them in hindsight, because they both can you can go one way or the other in both of those directions. Like when you're at the bottom, you can go one way or the other. When you're at the top, you can keep going and break, or you can go down. So it kind of feels weirdly, oddly enough, the same. So I'm excited just to start the journey again. You know, could have used another couple weeks, but no complaints here. I'd rather end every season like we did last year. So let's get it going.
Final three: Bill, Corrales, and Gary.
Jaylen, right here. You mentioned stability. I think we could probably look at the president, Brad Stevens, and you played for him as a coach. You've seen him develop now as a president/general manager. Can you talk about what impresses you most about what Brad's done here in your time?
Yeah, I think, talk about transitions. Brad was one of the people that was able to make a transition from being a coach and doing something that was a little bit more day-to-day to being in the front office. And he, it was probably one of the more natural transitions that we probably ever witnessed. Obviously, he had a great foothold on the group that we had as being a coach, but I think he's even surpassed that being a GM. And I think a part of that is because he went directly into that transition, and we were so close with Brad as a coach that he knew exactly the pieces that we were kind of needed and were looking for, and he's been able to kind of position us to have success. So, shout out to Brad, his transition and his growth as a leader in the front office. And he's still young, he's still learning, he's still growing.
Thank you.
Jaylen, I promise I'm not trying to make you feel old when I say this, but you are about to turn 28 and you're going into year 9. You've gone through a lot. You've now as a champion, you're about to launch a shoe, you're doing all this stuff in the community. Where does this put you as a person, as Jaylen Brown, as compared to where you were earlier in your career?
It's been growth. I've had to experience a lot of adversity through life, through this organization, through my journey. A lot of people, a lot of doubts, a lot of ins and outs to get to where I'm at. And I'm grateful. I wouldn't exchange it for anything, because even in those moments of doubt, or those moments of where I heard boos, or people wanted me gone, or they didn't think I deserved what I got, that kind of ultimately made me who I was. So all of those moments, I think cultivate you. I think adversity is that in itself. Like we often look at blessings as being something positive, but all the blessings in my life have been like the adversity and the negative things that have happened, like being benched as an early, being kind of, getting the short end of the stick. We had a bunch of guys early on in my career. It's been a lot of stuff, and all of those moments I look back on, and it just added to my demeanor, my mindset, and kind of where I'm at now and where I'm about to go. So I'm actually grateful. I wouldn't have changed anything, and I'm glad nothing was handed to me. I was a 3rd pick, but I feel like I had to earn everything in this organization, where it hasn't always been the case. But for me, that's been my personal story, and I feel like it's gonna help me for what I'm about to do.
Jaylen, I think you posted maybe a month ago or a few weeks ago that you were having a great summer. Like you were like, hey, I don't know about none of y'all, but I'm enjoying myself. What was different about this summer than previous summers? And then there's a perception that you have an attitude like you are not the nicest guy, or you're not the happiest guy. Did this summer change that, or did you want to show that you enjoy yourself, you have a good time, you're enjoying a championship? Like what went into that that expressing that you're having a good time and that your image, it seems to be different?
I don't want to state the obvious, but we won a championship. So I think that's largely what went into it. That's what excited me. That's what made me have an awesome summer. You spent your whole life dreaming to be a champion. I've watched from when I was young to now, different moments of people winning, and I've always looked at that and be like, this is what I wanted for myself. So when I got to that point where that was me, it was bliss, So it's been a lot of other great moments as well. Being able to go to Umrah, being able to go to the ESPYs, being able to watch my teammates win a gold medal, being able to do a lot of great stuff this summer that just all kind of swung it together. But winning the championship was just something that I've manifested for a long time. So I think ultimately that just it's just made my joy a lot different, because when you lose, you know, it's hard. You know, and year after year we were close, but those are years my heart was broken every single year. I mean, we got close for, I don't know, what, 5, 6 seasons we were in the conference finals. So I had 6 heartbreaks before I got to finally feel what it like to win. So, you know, this summer my heart wasn't broken.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Thank you.
to see you. How's it feeling? All right, good. How's the trip down to Dominican? Looks good. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just rallying people from the back. How are you? Good.
Good.
Thanks for talking.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, guys?
Questions for Al? Start with Bobby, then Jack.
How's it going, Al? Over here. Obviously, Kristaps out to start the year. You're going to have to step into that starting role and obviously carry a lot of that load with some of the other guys. How are you preparing for that? How are you anticipating the start of the year is going to go for you, Luke, and some of the other guys stepping into that spot?
Yeah, I mean, preparation starts, in the summertime, in the off season, and this year is no different than my previous seasons. Obviously, a shorter summer, different, but putting in the work, and now and over there, starting tomorrow, we started, working as a team and trying to get to work and start building everything back up again. And for us, just like once Kristaps went out last year, we all knew we all had to step up a little more, and we'll have to play in different ways, and there will be opportunities for different guys to come in and contribute, and that's just how we're doing it, and that's how I'm preparing to be ready to go.
Al, ever since you first signed with the Celtics, it feels like there's been a lot of moving pieces, whether it's starters getting traded or leaving in free agency or coaching changes, even you left and came back. Jaylen mentioned it was kind of weird even that there's stability now because you guys brought everybody back year over year. How have some of the internal feelings changed that now that you guys get to build on that team chemistry that you had last year with the exact same roster?
We're very fortunate. Like you said, there's always a lot of turnaround and teams, and for us, we're very fortunate to have, pretty much all our guys back, and everybody, on the same page and understanding and ready to go. So it is nice for a change to have that stability and not have to worry about anything, and just focus on continuing to build what we have here.
Right here in the center, thanks. Other than the night you actually won on the 17th of June, what's been the most rewarding part of your summer, knowing that you guys won this title before you start for your next quest starting tomorrow?
Well, other than the 17th, that parade, it was very special to me. Just being able to be with the fans right there, and all Celtics fans, and they were able to come and attend, and to be able to celebrate that with them and have those moments, for me was priceless. So that was the highlight of my summer. I mean, my wife and I still talk about it, and our kids, they just had a blast. They loved it. So that was pretty cool. And now I'm just excited about just tomorrow. We had a good month of September. We had a lot of our guys here working, and but ultimately for me, just excited to finally get everybody in, and we can start back up again.
Al, you spent some time in the Dominican Republic with Joe Mazzulla and I believe Tony Dobbins as well. So two-part question. First, how did it come to be that they accompanied you and your family on that trip? And then secondly, just as far as how you are received in the Dominican Republic, is it kind of similar to how you're received in Boston, or is it a different level of, because you're not there as often, or you're, the first NBA champion, is it almost a different level of reception?
Yeah, I was pretty honored for Joe and Tony to come down with me, and I just asked them. It was with Tony specifically, we were already working, and I knew I was going to be
gone during September, and I didn't. And I wanted him to, come down and be with me. We also did some basketball clinics for kids down there, and he wanted to be a part of it. And Joe, right away, he wanted to be a part of it. So I was, pretty fortunate to have them down there. The people really embraced them. We really had a really good time there. And then with the people down there, people are really happy. It's very similar to here. Just people, just really excited, and people very appreciative down in Dominican. Us being able to bring down the trophy and them to be able to take pictures with them and see it and just kind of make its rounds. It was a very unique experience, and for me it was very busy, but I was just very grateful for the reception and for all the love of the people, and we already had a lot of Celtics fans down there, and I just feel like this is going to put us over the top there for years to come. People really supporting us down there.
Al, after you won the championship, and finally accomplished that in your career, I think there was some thought that maybe you would retire. So what went into the decision to come back? And do you know how much longer you want to do this?
No, I don't think there was ever a question that I wasn't, gonna not come back or anything like that. And for me, and I've said this before, I never put like a limit of how long I'm gonna play. So I feel good, and I'm very fortunate to be in this position, and I give God the glory for that, and to be in this position, to be able to continue to play and be in this team. And it's been a lot of years that we've been fighting to get to this point, and now that we're here, I'm just fortunate to be here and to wear a Celtics uniform, and I just want to, I'm just going to keep playing, and that's what that is.
Leading up to the parade, you talked about your hope that winning a championship would inspire the Dominican community, both here and abroad. So similar question to her, what did it mean to you to bring the trophy back home and see the reaction that got?
Yeah, to me it was special. Years ago, I remember I saw Manu Ginobili with the trophy down in Argentina. And when I saw that all those years ago, I told Amelia, my wife, I was like, man, I can't wait to do that one day. I want to have the opportunity to do that. And then when we won, it was like, we're bringing it down. And the trophy being down there, I wanted to do some. My uncle has a basketball academy in La Romana, Dominican Republic, and I wanted to bring it down to his kids and do like a basketball clinic. That's how Joe and Tony, came on the trip. And my purpose with that was for them to see the trophy, to take pictures with it, to, bring, inspiration and just kind of hope, for them. I know that at a young age, if you can have any kind of interaction with an NBA player or anything like that, it can be, inspirational. And I think that them seeing a trophy, the actual trophy, bringing it down there, getting them to see it, and I made my rounds around Dominican. We went to different places, and people got to see it, to take pictures with it, and things like that. I just think it's unique, it's special, and it hasn't been done there before. They've never brought the trophy down, I don't believe, before. So for me, it was special, and I hope that it was inspirational for a lot of people.
And then breaking through to your first championship, is the motivation moving forward come from love of the game and the opportunity that this team has in front of it?
It's the opportunity that we have, the team that we have, the group of guys that we have. We have a group that I feel that embodies what being a Celtic is all about. Guys' commitment, willingness to team, to play the right way. We have a group here that gets it, that is going to come into work every day and work really hard. And we're really trying to be the best that we can. So being in that type of environment, it's motivation. And, I always, just kind of want to keep pushing and
and just compete. You know, I'm a competitor. I love to compete. I love to get after it, and I'm very fortunate, like I said, just to to be in this position right now.
This is Julian. What's it like kind of playing for a coach, which you've done multiple times, whether it's Bud or Brad earlier, that's kind of gotten the opportunity to grow in the role the way Joe is now going into year 3?
Yeah, it's I've been pretty fortunate to be, around, really good coaches, and and with Joe, it's pretty special just to see him come into his own, continuing to come into his own, and just lead us, and just his sense of our locker room, his sense of what we need. He's just been doing an unbelievable job, and we're just we're just following him. We trust him, and we follow him, and all the guys that are coming in here, they're buying into it, and they understand, that he leads us. He leads the way for us, and we follow him.
You worked 17 years for a title. Is it kind of cruel that you get 3 months to celebrate it, and then you just got to basically reboot and think about next year? It seems like the mentality is like that's over, and obviously when you get your rings and the banner, that's going to be a great night. But then it's like, let's turn the page. Or is that something you're embracing, turning the page? I mean, in terms of working so hard to get there, but such a short time to celebrate it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we celebrated it long enough. I'm embracing it. I'm still embracing it. It's a great feeling, but like I was saying earlier, as a competitor, and understanding that we have a season ahead, and we don't have time to dwell too much on that. I feel like I acknowledge it. Like you said, it's been a lot of years, but I mean, my process is the same. Like I'm putting in the work in the off season. I'm starting my training, kind of building it back up, and getting to this point. And that's just the way that the sport is. And I've taken that time to enjoy it, but I think I don't think I know I'm ready for what's next. And that's why I think I'm so excited about tomorrow. Just the first practice, we're able to get back here together and start looking ahead now.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, all right.
feel awkward about it. Bobby?
How'd the wrist surgery go? How'd you end up recovering from that? And what are you looking forward to in terms of opportunities to see
the wrist surgery went great. It's really come along and just kind of like progressed well the entire time. So I've been able to play a little bit, and that's been great. I'm sorry, what was the second part? Yeah, I apologize. It's I feel like one thing with like last season, there's obviously a lot of times where we do that, but I feel honestly a lot of confidence about myself and our entire group to be able to find ways to just like adjust and keep trying to grow and win. And I think it gives a great opportunity, obviously, for myself, but also like Xavier and Nimi, of just kind of being ready to step in and fill in and help our team and help us kind of just kind of figure it out one game at a time. And I feel like honestly, I've talked about this a lot, but like nothing really changes, just like kind of what the position and how much you might be playing, but it's always kind of the same goal at the end of the road. So it's whatever it takes to help our team win. And and I look forward to do that. And I also looking forward to just a new year and being able to hold yourself to a high standard and trying to grow and push yourself and to kind of face the challenge that is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't realize Jack grew up. Okay, Jack.
Luke, seeing year to year the same team basically coming back. So you re-signed, Xavier re-signed, Nimi re-signed. The unique position that you guys are in of having the same exact team or close to it as last year, do you feel a difference coming to training camp this year versus past years with the team? Like, is there a different sort of internal feeling now that you guys get to sort of build on that chemistry?
Honestly, I felt like in previous years too, it felt like since such a large like core of players was kind of returning, that things didn't feel that different. But I think it is interesting of having so many of our guys back. I feel like our mindset the entire last season, and I think something we continue to hold to, is just trying to challenge ourselves and kind of accept the challenges thrown and just being able to adapt and grow in whatever the moment is. So I think our mindset was kind of there, that I don't think anyone's like looking for some way of just like, all right, business as usual, and we're going to play the same style of basketball, because I don't think last year we were like ever in that frame of mind, and it was just kind of whatever competitiveness, whatever kind of person needed to kind of take the role, we're just going to find ways to adapt to be able to meet the challenge of the game. And I kind of expect that to continue. And obviously a lot of other teams changed in terms of personnel and stuff. And but really it's just like game to game, and even like within a playoff series, like the team that's coming at you is usually pretty different every single time, and it's on you to be able to adjust yourself and to become a different team to that game to try to get the win. So I'm looking forward to just being able to have those opportunities with the season coming again to be able to go out and do that.
Luke, I'm just wondering, what went into your decision just to re-sign with the team, and is it true that you wanted to be the first Woj bomb of free agency?
In terms of why coming back, honestly, it's just been an awesome place to be able to play basketball, and kind of like in terms of every controllable of that side, like the leadership, the teammates, just what kind of the Boston's been like for me and my family. I knew that it was like an awesome place to be able to come back and stay, and I wanted to be able to do that. And obviously we get to contend, and that's great, but I feel like a greater part of that is just the amount of people we have that hold themselves to a high standard and care about each other. That kind of gives you the confidence of like wanting to just continue that. As it pertains to the Woj situation, it was really just timing. I don't know. People sent me it and was like, "Oh, is this true?" And it was like, "What?" And that was about the end of that. So, I don't know how or why or any of that. Also, thanks to Adrian Wojnarowski for all of his great work. I hear he's moving on to other things. I'm sure a contingent of social media basketball fans will mourn the loss, even though you're still alive, and it's not like that. So, You're welcome, Christian, yeah.
a lot of the guys have talked about their excitement to start over. Is that a source of motivation for you entering this season?
I am excited just for the opportunities to kind of keep growing and keep being challenged and honestly just get back to playing games. I feel like every game kind of has its own life and story, and just being able to have that kind of continual, kind of just like filter of challenging yourself and having to see if you can, make it work or not. I think we have a group of guys that are looking forward to just competing, and it's funny now, before you've practiced or before you've gotten to playing games, you kind of you just miss kind of that friction and you miss that challenge. And so I think it's something that we're all looking forward to, and being able to get back and play.
Luke, last year before the in-season tournament, you said if you guys won, you'd pay your mortgage off. So with the playoff bonus, did you get to pay off your mortgage?
There's times where you have to start looking ahead to what your future financial goals are, as well as what the current financial situation and markets look like, to determine, whether these things are the right decisions, knowing what your interest rate is, knowing what's available now. We actually haven't paid it off. It's something we've considered. It's something that's available. But once again, you have to think about what your future financial plans. I was talking to someone the other day who said that like 40 years ago, he bought a 6-family home and a 2-family home with no money down, kind of inspired to like make things happen and all that. I don't know about that story. No, I haven't, in conclusion. But we're doing okay. The playoff bonus was great. We were able to help some people, so it was good. Yeah.
We're talking about 30-year fixed here.
Yeah.
Just for your personal game, knowing that the first couple of months, the Kristaps is out, and the way the team plays with him, have you done anything to maybe expand your game, maybe push your game further out? I know you were a three-point shooter earlier in your career. Have you thought about that? Have you gotten any kind of directive like that from the team to maybe expand your game to make up for some of what's lost early on?
It's sort of like, I've kind of, a lot of summer's been like kind of like the rehab process and working on that. Other than kind of like the same consistent work that I've done in that area, like not much has changed there. I think I've looked into definitely some things defensively, but also offensively, just kind of be more aggressive and kind of being able to finish kind of in like the pocket and those types of areas. So I think there's been a lot of preparation in that. I think it's still like openness to like shooting and stuff more as well, but I think trying to become a better and more aggressive kind of like finisher and someone in certain situations, I think is something that I'm trying to grow in, as well as obviously continuing to contribute to just being like a rim finisher and offensive rebounder and finding ways to make our team better in those respects.
Final question, Luke, your dad played 2 years in the NBA, and what was it like to kind of share the championship with him? What was did that create a bigger, better bond, a stronger bond between you and him, that he raised an NBA champion? And as much as he made it to this level, you guys share that.
Honestly, I feel like it's weird where he played before I was born, but he was like my coach for most of my life growing up. I think it's one of those things where you sort of just look up and you're in the position that you are, and you don't really know how or why it happened in the way that it did, but you're grateful that it did. And also, I don't really feel like my relationship with him was ever like very tied to the court, and I felt very allowed to, kind of just have my experience playing, and he was there to help it if I needed. But it was cool, obviously, I think, to be able to have that moment, but I also feel like he's kind of kept a lot of that to himself. I'm sure just my parents, of having those moments and seeing what it's like for your child to be able to go through this experience is something that they kind of like know and hold on to. But like I feel like it's one of those things where almost as like the child in that respect, they probably have their own perspective on it of what it was like to kind of see me go through that. But also in having like my own family now, it's kind of a strange thing where I've been trying to just be the best husband and father and like worker I can, and to do those things well. And I think they've put me in a good position to be able to try to just do that in my life, and to keep those priorities like at the top and then let everything else kind of follow as it does.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
And making sure that you were a part of another run here for this one, Banner 19.
Yeah, special when an organization is willing to invest in you and develop you and trust you enough to keep you around. And it was a pretty easy decision to sign back here. We have a chance to go deep in the playoffs and win championships for the next however many years, and to have a chance to be a part of that is pretty special.
Sam, sort of along the same lines, Brad Stevens did a great job of bringing everybody effectively back this year. You guys are only missing a couple players from last year's roster. That's a unique position for a defending champion to be in. Do you notice anything different about the team going into this year versus years past when you guys were coming off playoff losses and, big things would change, whether it be coaching changes or starter leaves or something like that? Do you notice anything different internally with the team's, feelings or anything like that going into this year versus past years?
Well, I mean, coming off a loss is a lot different than coming off winning it all. And I think how we handle that is going to be dictated on how the year goes. And, you know, that's going to be a big emphasis throughout the year is regardless of what happened last year, we still have a mission to do or accomplish. And we still have the same goals. And, you know, that's to repeat. And, you know, we're going to do everything we can to put our best foot forward to do that.
Sam, first of all, congratulations on becoming a dad.
Thank you.
You now have, you go undrafted, you now have pretty nice contract, you got a baby, you got a championship. Where are you just mentally now as far as like from where you've gone, where you've come from to in a fairly short time to having established yourself in the league and kind of having established a lot of goals in life?
Yeah, I mean, a lot's happened in the last 3 years. It's all a blessing. Try to celebrate it in the moment. And now, you know, for a new season starting, just try to focus on, you know, the task at hand. And, you know, a new contract just makes me want to work harder and put that much more time and effort into this team, into myself and what we have going here. But it's definitely going to be an adjustment with having a kid at home now and trying to be more time efficient off the court and also with my time here.
Hey, Sam. What has stood out about some of the newer guys, Baylor coming in, Anton, Lonnie, workouts early on with those guys, and, you know, Baylor coming in the league as a shooter? Have you been able to give him, you know, any advice or just point out some things about what it's like to translate to the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, all the new additions we've had have been great. They've been putting the time and effort in and working really hard. Baylor specifically, since you asked, I mean, he's a good shooter, but he's a lot more than a shooter. He's got a really good feel for the game. He's pretty crafty. The best thing I can do is just try to help him in this first year and help him with any opportunities he gets on the floor or if he gets opportunities in Maine, whatever that may be for him. But definitely going to have an open ear to him whenever he has questions or needs help or anything like that. But he's a really good player, and he's got a good feel for things, and I think he has a good future in this league.
You've already established yourself as one of the elite shooters in the NBA. Are there other things that you're hoping to add to your game or like individual things that you've been working on this offseason or kind of hope to evolve into as your career in the NBA continues?
Yeah, I mean, given that we have the same roster back and my role might not change drastically at all, it could be very similar, but just trying to get better within that role. How can I, you know, get a couple more threes up a game or shoot a more contested shot and have more confidence in making it, or using my shot fake to get to a pull-up jumper or to the rim, stuff like that. So I'm not gonna be out here ice wing guys, that's for sure. But if I have a chance to, you know, take a guy to the hoop on the late clock or something like that, I think, you know, just being more confident and doing things like that will show this year.
Any other questions? Hey, Sam, how's it going? Just with this being a truncated off season and also everything you know that happened off the court, becoming a father, congratulations.
Thanks.
Did you find it more challenging to be able to train, and how did it impact your ability to improve entering training camp?
Yeah, I don't know if like a shorter summer impacts like our ability to train and get better. I think that's really on each person individually. I think everybody took some time off after the season, as you know we should, to get our bodies back and healed up and, you know, prepare for what we have ahead of us, and that's another hopefully long season into June. And if everybody has gotten a little bit better individually, I think that only helps team success down the road here. So, but we're excited for day one tomorrow and to see where everyone's at and where we are as a team.